what are we gonna be doing? We're gonna be talking about footsies. You probably gathered that from the stream stream title, right? Okay. I just hope that most of you don't know what footsies are. If you do, just stay anyways because you probably don't know what they really are. Okay. Let's just keep the whole concept, like the whole name, all the names and stuff. Like, let's throw that out the window for now. This is gonna be applicable for every fighting game, not even just fighting game, for fighting in general. No matter if it's with weapons, without weapons, on a console, on PC, no matter what, you can play this anywhere. This is stuff that people knew for like ages already. But basically, we want to be looking at how neutral in most cases works. Let's start like explaining a little bit. Now, most characters in Smash especially are mid-range fighters. They have tools that are strongest in mid-range. They have movement that works out best in mid-range, etc., etc. You don't want to be super close up all the time. Even as somebody like Fox or whatever, you don't want to be in their face 24/7, but you also don't want to be super far away. There's always this kind of sweet spot where most of the game gets played in neutral. That's called mid-range. Now, of course, as a competitor, you want to maximize mid-range, right? Because that's where you're going to be playing most. Yes, I am pretty sure about that. Unless you're playing some super weird character or some zona or whatever, you're usually mostly in mid-range. Most of the time. There are, of course, exceptions, but I gotta lead into this whole thing somehow, right? Now, let's just try to create a scenario that's as even as possible for all of this. Okay, so what can we do to kind of boil all of this down? We can take away moves of characters, like stuff like stupid stuff like Meta Knight dash attack, like Joker side B projectiles. Let's just take all of that away. So you basically end up with a Ditto where both players only have one single attack. Let's say Marth with down tilt. Now let's take this down even further. Let's remove the ability to jump. So now we basically have a game that already exists, which is called Footsies. You basically have a 2D fighter where you can walk forwards and backwards, you can dash forwards and backwards, you can't jump, and you only have one actual attack basically. What do? Now, that's where most players just kind of like break apart and don't know what the fuck they're doing because it sounds weird. You don't have anything at first sight that can give you an obvious advantage. You don't have any stupid aerials or whatever that are really safe and you can kind of just spam out there, basically. But you can still play around with this a whole time. Now, let's get. By the way, if you guys want to know anything specific, just ask me. Like that's what chat is there for, right? Now, let's just think about how we could utilize this one move. What could we do? So we of course have to say, or we of course have to establish that this move is unreactable. So if you're right in front of me and I throw that move out, you can't just block it on reaction or whatever. Otherwise, this won't work. But let's just say both players are standing there. How can we hit them? Now, the most obvious answer to this is of course to just walk up, right? We can just walk up and do the math down tilt, and we will hit them if they're in range. But what else is there? Let's think a bit further. The other player might do the same thing. They might also walk up. So what would happen here if both players walk up? They would clash. The moves wouldn't connect. Like you would just trade basically. You don't want them. So how can you counteract that? The other player is moving up to hit you. So what you can do is hit them first. Don't move up, but instead just hit them moving into your range. That's where footsies start applying. you all know the whole rock paper scissors thing, right? With in Smash with shield attacks and grabs. Grab beats shield, shield beats attack, and attack beats grabs. It's the same thing. There's a lot of things like that. A whole lot of triangles in competitive fighting games, and this is similar. So we already have two sides. Let me just. Okay, I don't use I don't really use OneNote on PC that much, so let's just write all this down. So we have option A. You walk up to try and hit them, basically. Option B is you hit them, wow, as they walk up. So we can already see one option consists of getting closer, and the other one beats the option that is there for getting closer. So option B beats option A. But it's supposed to be a triangle, right? Because everything has counterplay. If there wouldn't be counterplay for this would be super broken, right? So the third option is we have to kind of deal with the currently really strong option, which is basically. Wait, I'm getting a fucking call. Wait, I'll be back in just a second. Sorry about that. I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, this is kind of annoying. Every time I switch windows, it like just doesn't show the main window anymore. This is super annoying. Okay, so how do we beat this option that is like super defensive here? You just stand there and like attack first. If you think about it, it's pretty easy. They want to hit you as you are coming in. They have to predict that. Because if you walk in and do your move, they can't react to that. So they try to hit first. They will try to hit your movement. So what you do is you just don't move, make them attack first, and then hit them. That's option C, basically. Make them hit first, then counter hit. That's a triangle. So now we know option A beats option B. Option B beats option C. And option C beats option. Oh god fucking damn it! I hate this. Beats option A. Yeah, I planned to do this by like drawing, but because I'm on my PC right now, I can't draw. So this is basically the triangle. Doesn't look like a triangle right now, but you can totally put that into like a circle or whatever. It's like rock, paper, scissors. That's basically how everything works. Okay, I got one view, nice. So, how exactly does this translate? Well, by the way, if you guys don't talk to me, like, I'll kind of run out of things to say here pretty quickly, so I'll basically be off after like 20 minutes or whatever. So, how does this work in Smash? So let's just add all the other stuff back in. So we are going from that easy ass non-jumping, non-different attack based game back to Smash. We now have jumps, we now have different kinds of attacks, we now have projectiles, we have air dodges, we have shields, we have all this different kind of stuff. And the way it translates is exactly the same. It's literally 100% the same thing. You basically get all the same, like the concept is entirely similar. Well, not similar, it's exactly 1-to-1, the same thing. Let's just add a whole nother moveset. Let's say a Marth empty hops in place, and another Marth tries to down tilt him. The first Marth can empty hop over his, over the first Marth's F tilt, not F tilt, over his down tilt, and then attack him. That's a whiff punish. That's option C. They can, one of the Marths can do a run up pivot cancel F tilt, where they basically slide forwards a little bit. And if the other Marth tries to run back to whiff punish, they'll probably get hit. That's basically an approach. That's option B. That's option A, I mean. And option B would be to just like dancing blade them if they try to run up a pivot F tilt. That's option B then. So you get this whole triangle. Now, what is really, really important is to not look at moves as parts of the triangle itself. Marth's down tilt isn't always a poke. It isn't always a defensive tool. It's more important what the opponent wants to do with it, basically. It's about intentions. That's where it kind of gets a little bit tricky, and it's not as straightforward as you wish it to be, basically. But the concept still applies. You can poke with a Ganondorf down B, basically. You can poke with overshoots. Overshoots are basically moves or approaches that go a bit further than they would have to catch opponents dashing back. Overshoots are a classic approach. You want to hit them as they try to go back, as they try to whiff punish a potential poke. And I know all of this sounds a little bit difficult, but my options to like write this down are a little bit limited. Because my keyboard isn't the best, I don't like writing on it that much. And again, I can't fucking draw, so yeah, I'll figure this out till next time. But this is essentially how it works. This is considered a approach. You come to them, you want to hit them. This is a poke, you want to hit them before they come to you. And this is a whiff punish. You've already heard these things before, somewhere. But this is the definition of them, basically. Now, I already explained why each option beats the other one, but there's a little bit more to that. Whiff punishes can beat approaches. That kind of contradicts the whole triangle thing, but that's where new concepts come in, like angles, like jumping over stuff, like parrying, etc., etc., pressure, all this kind of stuff. But then, even then, you can still apply footsies. And if you just can't really wrap your head around this whole concept, then just look at it while both of you are on the ground, while both of you are basically playing that dumbed down version of Smash with no moves, with no jumps, because there they definitely 100% apply. As long as you don't fight somebody like Link with like spamming boomerang or whatever. But even then, they still apply. As soon as both of you are on the ground, in mid-range, which is most of the time in neutral, you will be able to use footsies. You can see how do they move. Are they moving back and forth a lot? That they might be looking for a whiff punch, so you can run up an overshoot and approach on them. Do you see that they throw out a lot of aerials where you might go if you approach, then you know, okay, I can fake an approach, for example, and I can make them attack first and then counter hit them, etc., etc. This is how this whole thing works essentially. You gather information. You want to find out what they do basically. Then you counter them by using the correct strategy. Then they will find a counter to your strategy, and this goes on and on and on. At least if both players are paying attention. This of course falls apart a little bit if you fight somebody who's just smashing or whatever, because like if they keep on approaching, you can keep on poking them, and if they don't change their strategy, there won't be any adapting necessary, and so on. But in a nutshell, This is how you play Smash. This is how you play Street Fighter. This is how you play Tekken. How you play Rivals. Any game. This is how you fucking fight IRL if you really boil it down. Now let's look at a few moves that are often misunderstood. Best one is probably Joker side B, because we got a lot of Joker players, especially in America, and a lot of them don't know what the fuck they're doing. So side B, what is side B? Projectiles in general are meant to hit your opponent as they move, so it's usually considered a poke. But there are certain other projectiles, like Mario's Fireball, like Joker's Aha, that aren't pokes necessarily. These are projectiles that you can run under, for example, that you can easily jump over, things like that. Those are overshoots. Aha is a move that is specifically designed to catch movement. You can use it to read jumps, you can use it to read dash backs, you can drift back with it and hit approaches, etc. But that's when you start considering it a poke more than an actual, where you consider it a sort of whiff punish more than a actual poke. Because you want to hit them for doing an option, or for doing an option that kind of whiffs in a certain sense, instead of hitting them for moving itself necessarily. That's where this whole thing like kind of expands into the character's kit. So you now know you want to use Joker's side beam more for like punishing rather than playing defensively and keeping out. Basically, you rather want to use Mario's Fireball to cover them running back and then adding pressure instead of keeping them out with it. Stuff like that. This is where footsies are also insanely important. You can condition with you can condition with the whole concept. You can just straight up react at like sometimes and just see what the opponent does and punish them accordingly, and so on. It's insanely important to know these. Now, keep in mind, these don't work if you mash. If you just press buttons, you're not playing footsies. And implementing these especially is going to be really, really tricky at the start, especially if you've been playing for a long time without knowing this, because it seems really, really foreign and you have to think a lot about it. You have to think in-game, you have to actively like sort your thoughts and stuff like that, which takes time and is pretty slow. But keep going with it, just trust me on this one. It's like everything in Smash or in improving in general. It takes time, and once you got it down, you can just do it willy-nilly, and that's essentially the goal. If you play, you don't want to think anymore about like, yo, he's approaching me this entire time, I want to just math side B or whatever to catch him. You just wanna do it essentially. That's the point. So, wait, I just got a message from Discord. Actually, just let me check Discord. All right. So, in a nutshell, that's footsies. Now, let's just let me be very funny. And actually, do things because I got some gifts ready. Or not me, but you know, the server of my coach, which you should definitely join. He's a great guy. He's teaching me. Do your thing, you know. Yeah, let's go. We got him, boys. let me just change. Okay, how do you practice footsies? It's pretty simple. You just hop into a match with anyone that's preferably not a masher. That makes it a lot easier. And then you just look at what they're doing and think, what are they doing? Are they trying to poke me? Are they trying to keep me out? Are they even trying to play footsies? Because you can also avoid them, of course, if you're super far away or just running up all the time. Things like that. You can also look at not top player mods, but high level players playing basically, because they use the whole concept a little bit more easy to understand. Basically, you can just look at how they move and how they get their punishes, especially because if somebody gets a punish, they usually read where the enemy was in the Footsies Triangle correctly, unless there's enough time to react, of course. But you essentially just want to look at interactions and kinda explain to yourself where people are in the triangle. So it's basically the go do the thing until you can do it. Alright. I got some stuff here. This is melee. It still applies. You should be able to see that, right? Yeah. This is melee. It's a fighting game in Smash. It's pretty close to what we do. And these are all GIFs with different kinds of interactions on the Footsies Triangle. What is this? Look at the math. The GIF I'm showing right now. What might this be? Just type in the chat. We got time. You can only be wrong, but that's okay too. What is the math doing here? What is the fox doing here? Don't think about the moves itself. Think about what the players might be thinking in this case. Where are they aiming with their attack? What might they get out of their attack? Both attacks these players are doing right here are combo starters. Or both the grab and the nair. Let's say it like that. Just type in chat. I hope the latency isn't too big between chat and like my end, because otherwise this will get a little bit weird when I just sit here and don't say shit for like 10 minutes. Okay, you guys aren't typing anything, are you? Right. This is a whiff punch. Now why? Okay, Fox is running at Marth, right? He's approaching. So if Marth whiff punishes, he technically should get beat. But let's think about this a little bit more in depth. Fox is going where Marth is standing right now. Marth is in a position where he could also hit Fox from that. Like, theoretically, he could hit Fox from that distance. But Fox is choosing to hit where he's at right now. He starts his nair off at the peak of his short hop, which is where Marth would be if he would dash up or short hop at him. So this is poke. You can make approach-like moves or approach-like actions like this in this case, because this would also hit Marth if he would just be standing there, of course. You can also beat them if you dash back or jump over it. That's called creating a whiff, basically. So in a sense, you can also beat approaches with whiff punishing, but you basically turn that approach into a poke. This is where it gets a little bit complicated. But all things considered, this Marth is whiff punishing. Oops. This Marth is whiff punishing this Fox. Let's look at this one. What is Fox doing here? It's a similar situation, but Marth instead dashes back this time. And Fox dashes after him, essentially. He reacts to his dash back. What's he doing here? This is an overshoot. He's just doing the classic approach, essentially. Marth dashes back because he expects an approach, or he expects whatever, basically, from he expects a poke or whatever from Fox, essentially. So he dashes back. Fox reads this, or reacts to this, I think this is actually reactable, and dashes up, then short hops forward, and neutral airs the Marth. So in a sense he overshot. This is just classic approach, basically. Why is this happening all the time? Now, Marth, this is where it gets a little bit funny. Considering what the GIF we had before this, Fox is essentially doing something similar. He sees the Marth dash back, Then he dashes after and hits him. This is never an approach, because what Marth is doing right here is attacking first. The condition for a whiff punish is, at a basic level at least, that one player attacks first and the other player attacks second. So this is a whiff punish. Why? Marth dashes back, and on prediction, forward airs to poke Fox if he would come up and dash behind him immediately. But Fox instead waits, reacts, then basically runs up and up smashes. So this is a whiff punch. This is the kind of stuff that often gets people and is a little bit hard to understand at first. But to make it a little bit easier, think about who attacks first, where that attack is going, and if one player moves first or if he moves second. That are the three main things you want to pay attention to for now. Oh, whoops! What's the wrong one? Yeah, you can still see everything. So what is this? Oh no, wait, we were this one already. This is another whiff punish. For spading, then whiff punishing, and so on and so forth. Well, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. This is next level stuff. As soon as shield gets incorporated, it's not footsies anymore. If somebody shields, it's not neutral anymore. So to clear that up, because that's a question that often gets asked, shield doesn't belong anywhere on the Footsies Triangle. It's a different option. If somebody shields, the shielding player is in disadvantage and the other player is in advantage, for reasons which I won't cover today. This will be a separate stream. I just kind of used this opportunity to test everything, as you notice. But yeah, shield doesn't belong anywhere. Pure footsies means both players are standing on the ground, they're not close up to each other, and they're not super far away, and they both try to hit each other somehow. That's footsies. And the whole thing revolves around the triangle we basically talked about. Now, actually, let's be even funnier, because I am somebody who's very, very lazy. I like to do things efficiently so I have less work, you know. So I would just do this. And switch you guys to my OneNote view again. And OneNote doesn't show stuff. It now shows stuff. That's the Footsies Triangle. You won't see immediately which option beats which, but you now know. I just plagiarized this, but this is how it works essentially. You could replace these things with defense, passivity, and aggressiveness. You could replace them with rock, paper, scissors. You could replace them with attack, grab, shield, and so on and so forth. Triangles like this are everywhere. Now, in this case, it's a bit special. In the middle it says fate. That's a sort of hidden fourth option. It's a bit tricky. What do you do if you... let me phrase that differently. You know your opponent likes to poke you. But you're playing a close range character, so you sort of have to get close to them, right? You want to approach them. But the opponent doesn't just poke willy-nilly. Instead, he reacts to you doing stuff and then pokes you all the time. So, what you could do is dash up, dash back. They react to your dash and poke, but you're gone already. And then you run back in and punish them. You basically create a whiff by feinting an approach. What you're doing is you're pretending to approach, but don't actually use a hitbox, don't actually put yourself out of the game by attacking. Move back out. They see you twitch basically, react themselves, try to attack you, you're gone. Now they have put themselves into a bad spot because they're attacking. They have to go through all this animation, through the end lag and so on. And you're still moving around, so you can move back in and hit them. That's a fate. You can also use if you know they try to whiff punish, you can use something like a safe F smash from a safe distance. They might get baited into running in because they think they can whiff punish, and then you can essentially approach them yourself. You can F smash and then dash attack. Use your burst range to punish them trying to come in. You've essentially feinted a poke in this case, and so on and so forth. You can be super creative with all of this. Feinting is where the whole concept starts dripping a lot into other areas, which again I won't cover today, but that's the gist of it. I don't know, screenshot that image or whatever. I don't know where it's from, so go figure. Actually, yeah, you can just screenshot this. This isn't the most pretty. Next time I will try to get my drawing pad set up somehow, or I don't know, just think of something that this whole thing will go smoother on the whole noting down stuff side. Next time we also won't have the problem with not having a stream for 40 minutes. And I guess I'll either make... Oh, hey, thanks for following me. Appreciate it. And next time we will either do analysis, just analyzing some player possibly. He's a really, really good player to analyze, simply because he does a lot of stuff that a lot of players should implement. Or we're gonna do a little bit more advanced theory stuff again. I don't know yet. I can figure out a way, I guess, to just find out what the fuck I'm gonna do next. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. I'm just gonna plug my Twitter in here because I'll probably do all the notification stuff and all the like stuff like asking what you want next on Twitter. So go figure. I think it's because I'm actually not logged in on Twitter on my PC right now, and I don't want to go through all of that. Twitter, where is it? I got the link somewhere. Fuck. Can't find it. No. Okay. Yeah, wait, my Twitter ad is... Let's just do it like that. This is me. That's my Twitter ad. You can just add me on there, just copy that and save it somewhere, I don't know. You got my Twitch? You can follow me if you want notifications like that. If you want to watch my next stuff. And I think I'll end this here. I basically talked about the gist of it. This is Footsies. This is the concept. Make notes yourself. I will also recommend you guys a video series called Art of Footsies that's made by another fighting game player, like ages ago I think, which basically covers the whole thing in detail again if you need to rewatch that. And yeah, I think I'll just leave it here for now. Give me feedback on Discord, just tell me stuff. This is literally the first time doing this. And yeah, I hope I'll see you guys again. Are there any questions? Do you want to know anything else? Just, I'm still here, so shoot me your messages. Also, I don't know if that one viewer, if that's me or if that's somebody else, so please talk to me. Otherwise I feel really stupid if I'm just talking to myself this entire time. Huh? No questions? Alright, then thanks for watching me, thanks for listening to my bullshit. I hope you guys learned from this, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for checking me out. Bye bye.